Hey y'all. So I'm gonna be covering what I do in Apex Legends on on console. So I recently made the switch over to PC. So most of these settings I keep the same. However, most of my sensitivity settings I change. Um so what I have, I'll go over each one of these individually. The interact prompt style. So this essentially, as it says, display more or less information about weapons, items on the ground. Essentially, and I'll show kind of what this looks like in game. This will make an R301 on the ground. When you look at it, that HUD that comes up, it'll say like R301, like, oh man, it's been forever since I've had it on, but essentially it just goes and yaps about what the R301 is, like fully automatic assault rifle or something like that, light ammo. But if you already know the gun, you know, there's no reason to have it on. So this is compact. This is the change setting. Default is gonna look more like this. Okay, so this is full auto and high accuracy, and it says your skin name is the hop up and the points required. Whereas if you have it back on compact, very much so smaller. So I like running this just so I can have more visibility. Apologies, I just got on, so it might be a little off. So that's compact. That's the first setting. Second one, button hints. So this is gonna be like your left bumper or up on the D-pad. For PlayStation players, that might be like square or triangle or whatever. You know, these are gonna be like at the bottom of your screen. It says left bumper, right bumper, old. You know. So again, for players that already kind of know these things, this is a very elegant and kind of sleek almost, where you can see still more of your screen, but it's less so that it just makes it a lot less cluttered. If you get what I'm trying to say. I like this setting in particular just because, like, I don't know, it's just a little nitty-gritty thing. It makes your interface look more clean, a little bit more visually pleasing, which you need for gaming. Okay, so crosshair damage feedback. This is going to be a setting where you see that X kind of go up around my green reticle. So that's going to be that. However, this setting can be changed with a shield icon as well, which should look like X when you don't have a shield on, obviously. But whenever you do have a shield on, that little red shield, it basically just gives you the color of the player that you are actively shooting at.
I leveled up. I should select an upgrade
Kind of helpful maybe for the newer player. Off, you definitely don't want to have. This is just kind of like a, oh gosh, it's just kind of eh. I like the X personally, just because it's kind of like, I don't know, just makes me know that I'm really truly hitting, even though the numbers are going up. It's just something like neurological, I suppose. I like that setting. I like to have it on X. Shield kind of gets in the way. Yeah. Damage numbers, so this is the same thing. So, so if you have this off as well as your, like, crosshair damage feedback, you're basically going blind, which is no bueno, in my opinion. So I have it on X. Stacking's a little different. Stacking has the numbers kind of like all accumulate, fade away, like that. So 130 beam, calm your teammate. It's a lot easier than if you did floating, where it's per bullet. It's like, oh, that's a 13 damage, 13 damage. You cannot calm your teammate, you know, what you're doing, because I have no idea what that does. I could guess and be like, that's probably like 170. But like, like that, like all those numbers are just going to be accumulated in your stacking. So 65. Does that make sense? So 130, like 140, 200, something like that. So I guess it's a lot easier. You could do both if you really wanted to. I don't really see the point. That's just more visual clutter. I know some pros that really like the look of this because it kind of looks like, oh, you're doing more. You're really just beaming. That's what we're just kind of here to do. So I like stacking, where the numbers stack on their own. So enemy health bar. This you kind of need. This is just like, it tells you when to push, when not to push off of enemy strength. If you have this off, then
I must select an upgrade.
I don't know. It's just weird. I don't recommend. Really don't. you just kind of want to like blind. I do not recommend. As it says, display overhead health bar for 3 seconds when damaging opponents. I don't know why you would ever have that disabled. That's just more info on enemy movement. Okay, so ping occupancy. This really depends on visual settings that I'll cover later. I can kind of see it both ways. See how this ping is a lot brighter than faded.
Let's regroup here. Target acquired here.
That's probably a better one. So you kind of see how that's kind of like, it's faded a little bit. It can kind of be seen through almost. Yeah, you see how it's
An
kind of
upgrade is available. I must choose.
So if you do that, and you do, oh gosh, where is it? Hang on, let's see, default.
We'll be well positioned. My enemy on me.
Like, I think it's very situational. But I think the occupancy is faded more often than it is bold. So essentially, this range, I'm not sure this is gonna work. But essentially, it takes the majority of the time as faded, so you can see through it rather than hard colored.
Marked my next location.
Like this. So you can kind of, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I play on faded just so that in the cases of which in situations I need to see through my ping, I can rather than can't, and I always want to leave them on that side through my settings.
An upgrade is available.
Allows me to do that.
I must choose.
Enemy highlight, have this enabled, please. Please have this enabled. This is just so wonderful. Playing without this is, it's painful. Just keep this on. It just makes your life easier. Just the same as the health bar. Just keep your life easier. I genuinely have no idea what this is. Literally no clue. I just have it on. I'm being honest with you. Yeah. I've done this off and on multiple times. No clue. Absolutely no idea. Minimap rotation. This one 100% have on. You will get lost when you're trying to like, with a minimap. Please, for the love of everything, just keep your minimap rotation on. So wherever you're pointed on the map is where you're gonna see it. It'll make your life easier. Trust me.
I must choose an enhancement.
Weapon auto cycle on empty. So I have this one on. You can kind of take it any way. It's really personal preference. I would say the pros of not having it swap would be like if you were about to pick up light ammo and it swapped to your Havoc and now you need to swap back to your R99 to reload, whereas since the game just knows you ran out of ammo, swap to Havoc, but now you have a higher amount of time before you can get back to your R9 to shoot. I guess it's really personal preference, very situational again. I have it just swapping on just because I find in a higher amount of situations, like I was saying previously, you're going to find yourself in that situation to the point where just swapping automatically, you can keep your thumbs on the sticks, and that is always a good thing on controller. Yeah.
Time to pick an upgrade and hone
keeping your fingers and your thumbs on the controllers is always a great thing. So always sprint. This is probably one of the most important settings. If you have this off, you are actively throwing. Essentially, what happens is that, and this is like, okay, so this setting, like for those of you who have this setting off, you can still walk with it on. See, I have it on. You can still walk. But whenever you do your normal, like, full walk without pressing left stick, like, all the way full throttle, it'll just sprint for you. You don't have to press left stick, which does two of two things. One, the more you clicky on your left stick, you get what's called stick drift. Now, everyone knows what stick drift is, and you never want it, especially on your left stick, which your left stick's technically fine. Like, it can take a little bit of beating compared to your right stick, but, like, you're already clicking your sticks. Just keep it healthy. Just keep it better. And besides, it's one last click you gotta do, and you can gain so much momentum out the get-go on this. Instead of going forward, left stick, and then going, you can just, hey, go slide in. Makes your movement more clean, makes you think more collectively, have one less input to put in, and that is generally in every single sense, one less input to put in, so much easier. So much easier. Keep this always on. And then your sprint control. You don't have to ever worry about this. If you have this especially off and this hold, something is genuinely wrong with you. I apologize for saying that, but please don't do that. Auto run. This is a little different. Some people get always sprint and auto run on two different. They kind of combine the two things. Auto run is like if you had this, you could like.
I must select an upgrade.
If you had your like. Oh shit. It's a real stupid control, but like, essentially like. It just makes it so that you can keep running. It's just like a toggle. I don't know. It's stupid. Yeah, double tap X. We'll start an auto run. Yeah, so I'm not even touching my joystick right now, and it's just kind of like going around. Yeah, just it's completely useless. Have this off and have this on. That's what you want. This will make your life better. Jetpack glide control. So this is one that comes naturally as toggle. I found in every single situation, it's kind of like crouching, where you never want to have it on toggle.
I must choose.
Because it's just, again, one more button you have to press.
And I'm back in the game.
It's just one more button you gotta press. When you're in VTOL here, you have it on toggle, you gotta click off. Like, you lose your ability to do aerial maneuvers really easily. Whereas if you have this on hold, you can hover a lot easier, because all of these buttons would be 2 clicks, and now you just made it into 1 click. And that makes just everything a lot easier. It's not like your finger in that situation is gonna be doing something else. That is just, hey, you're fine here. That's a good button to have like that. And so I'm glad this is a control. This is a very valuable one, especially for your Valk mains out there. Do hold if you don't already. Mantle boost. Essentially just it's just your average boost off of corners. This is a great one to have. I know, like, for a long time, this was not extremely accessible to controller players. Ex-pros that used to stream on controller could do this, like myself. But, I mean, this just makes it so incredibly easy. And I recommend, for those of you who have not quite exploited how powerful this is yet, play this on Mantle Boost UI on full, right? And get used to the timing. Get used to the timing. Just get used to it. Get your boost timings right. I'll have a little indicator. Get this down. You're good.
Wings out.
Get through that, you're fine. Once you have that down, maybe start working about getting rid of some stuff. Maybe start going, high prompt, minimal, off. To the point where now you're not causing visual clutter, and you're able to get that speed boost. How much better that is? So much better. So you want that. That's really important. Your Mantle Boost activation, I just have it on A. I would recommend A or B. Whatever that input is for you. Jump or crouch. Movement ability, this is kind of like one that you already have in your settings. Off, do not have this off unless you can do a crazy, yeah, there's not really an excuse. Just have this on. Either jump or crouch, your choice. It's really either A or B if you're Xbox. It's really personal preference. I can't really say anything on that. Incoming damage feedback, 3D. It just kind of gives you, it just essentially gives you more, oh, hey, like, this is where the damage is coming from if a bot were to shoot me. It's like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. I can look this way now and I can find the enemy, or I can ping it for my team. This is really helpful. I found 3D just be kind of better in every situation rather than 2D. Both of them is kind of weird. It's, I don't know, just keep it at 3. 3 is probably best. Another extremely important setting. Taking damage closes death box or crafting menu.
An upgrade
Now, if
sitting on
you're
the
maybe
runway,
a
burning
newer player,
daylight.
you've experienced maybe you're in zone and you're trying to craft your ally's banner really quick and you're doing crazy zone rotation, but all of a sudden you're taking ring damage. And you're like, why the hell is this taking me out of my replicator I'm trying to craft? That would be the setting, because you're taking damage and it kicks you out. I've died so many times until I found this setting, where I've been in a death box trying to grab a syringe and pop it mid-zone, and I end up dying because it kicks me out of the death box before I realize where the syringes were to grab it. Granted, that was a long time ago, and I've improved a lot, and I've improved my speed, my Crusader speed. However, this setting I cannot stress to you to be important enough. This will save you. You just have to be ready to get off the box or the crafter, the replicator, whenever you get shot at. Because it works great for zone, because there's not typically going to be a crazy amount of fighting in zone, especially when you're in a replicator or in a death
I
box.
should take an upgrade.
But when you're
or
actually
take an L.
getting shot at, this setting, when you have it on, it's going to save you because it kicks you out of it. But if you can prepare your brain to be ready to back it off as soon as you see this, as soon as you hear gunshots shooting at you, you're going to be in a way better spot when you have it off. It's just a ratio thing. Have this off. Health and ammo pop-ups. So this is going to be like... So I'll read this. Off, no health and ammo pop-ups will appear. Limited, health and ammo pop-ups will only appear when you're in crucial state. On, health and ammo pop-ups will appear when you're running low on ammo or injured. So this is kind of like how much, hey, it'll ping you off of what's going on in your inventory. If you're aware of what's in your inventory, I recommend that you have this on off or you have it on limited. And if you need a little bit of a heads up before the impending doom of, hey, your R9's consuming too much light ammo and you only have 20 left and you're getting pushed by a 3-stack.
An upgrade waiting on the lens.
If you struggle in that department, maybe have that on the higher side. So you can kind of get a little bit of like, hey, you're at 50 rather than at 20 kind of idea. Which it wouldn't be exactly to that proportion, but essentially imagine it like that. So I have it unlimited. That's just kind of a nice kind of voice indicator, especially if I forget to hit like a shield cell or something like that. This is a nice reminder. That is if my teammates don't yell at me already. So, okay. I probably have both of those limited. Now, Arsenal's maps and HUD in icons. So when you look at your map in game, and I can demonstrate this in a game, you can go down on your D-pad and it'll ping nearby arsenals for you. And essentially what this does is it shows a certain amount of arsenals in your area. I have this at moderate. I really don't understand why you would have this at minimal. Moderate's fine. Maximum
I
is...
should take an upgrade or take
I
an
mean,
L.
I will probably move it to maximum, honestly. It's not really a downside. I mean, it's kind of like crazy to, like, if you're all the way in, like, I don't know, climatizer and you're pinging things in, like, thermal station or, like, I don't know. It's like, okay, whatever. So moderate or maximum really doesn't matter. Just have it at one of those. Minimum, I don't really keep it at minimal. Off-screen portraits. I have this on. You don't really need to have this on. This is like the tiny little like these are like oh, Bangalore, like whatever. You don't really need to have this on. I have it on just cuz, but you can have this off if you want, if it bothers you that much, but I have it on. Hop up pop up. This is going
Better
to be
get an
like
upgrade locked in.
this is going to tell you what's on the weapon. So with the meta constantly changing, I like to have this on. Doesn't really indicate too much. Like it doesn't really pop up too much on your screen. It's kind of like a little subtle thing, and it's kind of a nice little reminder. Especially now that I've swapped from kind of more on the scrimming side of things to more on the content creation chill side of things. It's been a great change. Streamer mode. I stream. I know, crazy, but I have this on just because I have some people who know me, and so it's kind of nice to just play and relax and not have anyone like, bothering me. Or this setting in particular is really nice in kill feed because you can be like, oh, like the Pathfinder, because it'll say like if the person's playing Pathfinder, it'll say Pathfinder, and so if you're chasing a Pathfinder and he grapples into a team and you're looking in the kill feed and you see a Pathfinder die, you're like, oh, okay, my kill got stolen, I need to disengage. Which if you play with this
Got an
on
upgrade waiting in the wings.
killer only or off, you are not gonna have that. So this is kind of like a little pro, and you'll see pro teams do this. This is a pretty pay to win one. I mean, not even pay to win. It's just setting to win. But a great change. I like this one. Anonymous mode. This is more your normal streamer mode. This is like your username is anonymous to other people. Yeah. Usage sharing. You got, again, to see EA's privacy and cookie policy. Yeah. This is your own privacy choice. I'm not going to speak on that. Performance display. So I have this on. This is kind of like your this is like packet loss, ping, FPS. It's kind of it's just a little thing I can show you. It's this tiny little thing kind of right beneath change legend in the top right. It just has a little tracker on what's going on your screen. It's a nice little thing. It, again, doesn't feel much use screen, but it tells you what's going on. Communication filter. I have it on everyone, kind of the same reason. I'm not a huge fan of people coming in just hating for no reason. So I have it on everyone. But yeah. This is great for randoms because it will have everyone automatically muted, so you don't have to hear someone's mom yelling at them from the kitchen and their like crappy Walmart mic. Highly recommend for that reason in particular. So yeah. Tutorial settings, systems, like if you're new to the game, keep this on. By all means, keep this on. If you are experienced in the game or know at least kind of what you're doing, I recommend you have this at least on like auto or off. I don't know, this helps just because it clears up the screen, and if you already know what's happening, you don't need someone to tell you what's happening because you already know. That's really nice. I would keep it at that. Okay, now for reticle and laser sight. So laser sight, it doesn't really matter. I like to play on kind of like whatever I'm kind of feeling. You can kind of do whatever. A lot of my buddies, at least when I was doing esports, did white. I'm a fan of the white. I think it's kind of nice. And the reticle, you always want to have it a lime green, and I'll tell you why. The lime green, this like bright lime green, no matter what you put it on, that color is gonna pop. See that? This is what all the pros use. I know some people kind of like the deeper blue. I think the deeper blue is a little worse personally. But on the greener maps, like if you're scrimming and you know you're going to be playing on like a storm point like this, or maybe like an Olympus, maybe you'll be like, hey, that's it. But like if you're playing on it in organic, like a World's Edge or something like that, maybe you swap back to green, as you can see the benefits of both. But one of these, either dark blue or bright green. I prefer the bright green personally. But yeah, you can kind of tweak with this really how you prefer. That's just my opinion on it. And you can also do the red if you want. The red's not terrible, but again, like lava. But yeah, you get it. You're not gonna have a perfect one, but colorblind. I have it on Trinopia. If I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. Tritonopia. I'm gonna stop trying. Try. No. But this kind of makes your colors pop a little bit more. I would really either play on off or trite, either one. This is really nice because the first thing humans see is the color yellow. So it's kind of nice to have it pop a little bit. And your enemy outlines, like when you're playing a recon character, are still red. It's a nice system, especially when you're going against Wattson fences. You know how they can sometimes be a little confusing with friendly Wattson fences. This one will essentially just make it so that their lasers are yellow and the friendly ones are blue, which is a very high contrast of color from each other, which really helps sometimes. So I like trite. Subtitles, I really have this off for screen clutter, yada yada yada. Chat features, personal choice really. Voice chat, personal, whatever. Okay, now time to the juicy stuff. So I had been commented on one of my videos with the charge rifle, talking about what I did for my controller. So as of right now, I use the Recon My Turtle Beach controller. it has 2 paddles on the back and a pretty, I would say it's a pretty customizable controller layout. It has, yeah, again, 2 free buttons. It's a really nice controller. It's kind of small, but I would say it's more on the it's probably on the lesser quality side. So if you're looking for a controller that's here to maybe serve you for like a year, year and a half, 2 years, I'd go for this. If you're going for something like higher up, that's gonna treat you for like a long time. I just recently ordered a SCUF controller, and I will probably post a video on that and have my reviews on it in comparison, especially to this controller, and what's kind of better and worse. So stay in tune for that. But that I can almost guarantee you will have a quality and quality of life increase. So keep posted on that. But until then, I run this. You may be confused why I have reload on the left stick, and basically my X, Y's, and my left are both mixed up. One, I found myself not really meleeing that much, and when I do, I can just Y. Which, by the way, I hold my controller in the normal format because I have the 2 paddles on the back. I don't hold it in claw, so that's for reference. The left and right stick I heavily recommend because that allows you to keep your fingers on the sticks while reloading and swapping guns. So I'll show you kind of a tracking on kind of like what I'm talking about. So like if I'm tracking an enemy, I would have to go off, like I have to go off my stick to go press Y. So say that would like swap my weapon without that setting, and then I have to lock back on the target. Whereas since I have the settings I have now, I can just right stick and I'm back on the target. You never have to leave for a second, which makes it super nice. And whenever you reload, you can reload, still keep your place on the target, and keep it locked in on them. Really, really positive setting. It takes a long time to get used to, but if you start it now, in future you will not regret that decision. Great, great swap. Love this one. And since you got sprint on auto, you don't care about pressing X at all. Which is another plus. Yeah. Anyhow. Stick layout. Again, this is just in button layout. It's just another accessible thing if you want to do that. If you have trouble with doing doors and reloading, this is a great thing. Crouch button, same as the Valk. I have it on hold. I think it's a lot nicer to do movement text with. Just because you can kind of let it go whenever. And again, it's just one less button press than toggle. I know some people would disagree with me on that, but it just makes my life easier, personally.
We're back.
Yeah, great setting. I like that one. Yeah, and yeah, aim button on hold. If you do toggle, you're weird. Survival button. This basically just has, you see that like the leftmost button from my R9. Like you have those 2 like little gray buttons, kind of like in between my ult and my R9s. Yeah, those 2 little buttons. If you get rid of survival slot, it just says bye bye to that. So with this on, like again, so items will all be accessible through your inventory screen. So like you'll see it down there, but like to actually access it, you'd have to literally go to here into the survival slot, which is kind of weird. So I just kind of have it on just a hotkey. See, so if I'm spamming left bumper, but if I go here and I just
will take me into orbit, so I best pick one.
Right. Yeah, so this kind of just goes into. Which hey, some people like this. Some people like to inspect while running. For me, I just go.
Okay, this is the upgrade for me.
I just go up and do this, which makes me at least spin it faster. And if you hold down left trigger while running, you get your long form, and you can still slide around while doing it. You don't have to hold down your left bumper, and you can do it running around. Whereas on this one, you can't. I don't know. That's personal preference. Whatever. See? Just go straight to your evac. But yeah. There you go. Trigger dead zones, I have this button on. Again, if you have it higher, just go ahead and put it up higher. Cruiser speed, I have it up higher. Obviously, the better. If you can do it faster, faster is always better. But if not, just keep it at here. It's a great happy medium. 4-3 is how you really want to have it. But since I was scrimming so much, and since I knew I was going to get my hands on a PC, your PC aim assist and your aim assist on console are two different things. For the longest time, I didn't know that. And in my opinion, the best settings for a controller player is 4-3 linear, no dead zone. It's the best. I've seen some people more recently do 3-2 or 4-2. You can do that, but I think 4-3 is the best, and I think that's what the pros are mostly using, including myself. That you see in my clips, I will be using 4-3 linear. My dead zone's a little bit weird on the linear side just because I have an insanely high amount of stick drift from not using that left stick or right stick clicks for so long, and it kind of screwed my controller a little bit. But now that I have it, it's definitely stabled out. It's gotten better. So my movement dead zone, I have on small. Inverted look, just have that off. I don't know why you do that. And vibration, have that off. That will throw your aim off. Have that off. I know it's weird. It was weird for me when I first turned it off. Turn it off. It'll save your aim. This might be the secret thing y'all been needing. Turn your vibration off. So my dead zone, I have at 20. This is again because my stick drift is cooked. Yeah, have this really as low as you can possibly get it without your stick tweaking. That's probably as best as I'd say it. Just put this as low as you can. If I put this any lower, watch this. Like, look at this. I mean, it's so bad. It'll just take my stick and just like run with it. It's like a dog. Like look at how cooked that is. Now I go back. Cancel controls. Pop this bad boy back at like. Gosh, this is when you wish you were on PC. 20. See? No more. That's great. So I run out 20. Don't recommend you do 20. I recommend you do the smallest you can. Outer threshold at 1%. Really try and get that as low as you can. So it's going to be 1%. Response curve. I'm not a big fan of response curve, if I'm being honest. Essentially what outer threshold does first, though, is it's basically the outer barrier. So it's like, how much do you have to move it before you cap it out? It's not quite sensitivity, but it's like how fast can you get to the point where you're going to be inputting your max amount of sensitivity, if that makes sense. And response curve is like how fast things accelerate. I like having a really raw input, so I don't really like response curve. But outer threshold you can shrink down if you prefer. Yaw speed. So this is the 4-3, and this is probably why the guy in my comment section was probably like, hey, this is interesting. I am curious what you mean 4-3 and ALCs. Because I play on PC, I like to have my console as well on PC aim assist. This is the same reason why I do any of this. 4-3, and you guys can slow this down and just take a screenshot of right here. This is the 4-3. This is 4-look 3 ADS in ALCs, in Apex Legends. This is the bread and the butter. So you want to do 24 yaw speed. You want to do 20 pitch. 22 turning extra yaw, 22 turning extra pitch, 0 turn up, 0 turn ramp up, delay in time, 11 ADS yaw speed, 7.5 ADS pitch speed, which is 75. I'm just doing the first two integers. 30 ADS turn extra yaw, 30 ADS turning extra pitch, ADS turning ramp up time, 100%, which is far different than looking normally, and 25 ADS turning ramp up delay, which is also far different than normal. Turret compensation, just have that on. That's aim assist. Melee compensation, have that on. That's aim assist when you're meleeing. It just makes it so that you can hit aimbot when you're aiming. It's really quite stupid, and it basically allows you to just like hit a melee every time. It's quite ridiculous, really. I don't really know why it's so overpowered, but it is. And then if you want to do the same thing as me and you know you're going to be swapping over to PC, or or you just want to get used to PC, PC allows you to have better control over your aim because you're going to be using more raw input than aim assist. However, if you do default, you will find yourself in a normal 4-3, and your aim assist is going to be doing more work than you are. So it's really personal preference. I like PC personally. As you can tell, I'm definitely used to the PC feel. So yeah, but you will be put at a disadvantage because you will be matched with normal console players while you have a PC, which means that you have, when you have PC aim assist on, which means you do have a disadvantage on aim assist, and they will probably be better at aiming than you for a little bit, but you will eventually take the long-term gain off that. My per optic, I have it all at 1. I know, weird, but I mainly just run 1Xs anyways. I'll typically run double R9. For R, I'll run like R9, R301, like R9 PK, or like R9 3030. E7, Nemesis as well. That's kind of all your like basic good reliable guns, or reliable. Spitfire as well. Sometimes snipers, but you're all reliables. Yeah, my video I run at 106 FOV, and this is maybe a little shocking to some of you. I know a lot of you will probably run at 110. There's nothing really bad about 110. It makes you feel like you're going faster, which I know a lot of people enjoy. But for me, I like having a little bit of magnification in the center of my screen because FOV really just stretches it out. So it's kind of nice to still see that fine detail of enemy movement in the middle of my screen, especially while I'm ADSing. It just keeps things nice. 110's a little over the top for me, personally. FOV scaling, just have this disabled. It keeps your FOV at a constant, which is really nice, which means like on Octane stims, it doesn't look like you're like bending space-time. Which, if you're into that, you're into that, but whatever. Screen shake, put this on minimal. There's no reason for you to have it at normal. Put it at minimal. Makes it so that your screen looks a lot more like this, rather than a lot more jassled, like... It just makes your screen shake just lesser.
Now for the
Probably
right
be more
choice.
evident on like Wraith or something like that. See how much like my screen's just moving kind of like up and down, just like running and jumping. I don't know. So yeah, looking around just becomes a little easier when you have this on. That shake a little bit, and yeah, that's kind of how you do it. And balance is 60 FPS unbalanced, and performance is at 120. If you have a Series XS Xbox, not quite sure again about PlayStation, but if you have an Xbox Series XS, that's what I run. Performance will have you at a stable 120, I promise you. Just run performance, thank me later. Audio, I do the Focus. This is the new one. Yeah, this is great. Mic threshold, it's kind of whatever you need.
Got an upgrade to choose.
Sound effects I have really high because that's going to be like your gunshots, your footsteps, whatever. Dialogue volume, again, this is going to be like the actual person. Like whenever you're playing Wraith, it's going to be Wraith talking. You can have this up a little bit. I know Imperial Howl has this up a little bit. Have your master at 100. And emote preview sound. Yeah, it's again, just up to you. Volume while spectating, I have this down a little bit typically. I really don't know why it's up that much. I typically have this at 30. So yeah, this is what I run. This is scroll settings. And I've been running this for, sometimes I'll tweak the senses a little bit. But I found this to be the best, nicest settings to run. Kind of the cleanest.
I can choose an upgrade.
Kind of
Counts.
and it's not filled with BS that some other people put in there, which is nice. It's kind of a very raw, very human. There's a very human sensitivity. It's not really much to it. And I don't do stretch res because I'm not on PC. So this is a very like if you can't run this, then I'm sorry. But like, okay, kind of idea. It's not filled with all that special stuff. So there you go. That's my settings. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll try to upload this shortly. Thank you.